Yankees, Dodgers, Astros, Padres. Who's going to take top spot in the first edition of our power rankings? What's up, everyone? My name is Chris, and you are now rocking with the 5-Tool Podcast. We are a daily baseball betting show that touches on just about everything you want to know about Major League Baseball from a betting perspective. Today is Tuesday, March 28th, and we are just 2 days away from opening day in the major leagues. The excitement is at an all-time high, and what better way to kick off the season than by doing a ranking system to completely piss off some fan bases by ranking their team too high or too low on this completely meaningless system. But since we got 30 teams to get through, let's get right into the action. Coming in at number 30 is the lowly Oakland Athletics. Can someone please tell me why this team hasn't relocated yet? They averaged less than 10,000 fans per game last season, and with one of the cheapest and worst rosters across Major League Baseball, a 110-loss season is very doable, and I'd be willing to put my money on them doing it this year. Coming in at number 29 is the Washington Nationals. Look, it's been a tough stretch for the Nats. They lost a highly touted youngster in Cade Cavalli to Tommy John surgery, and when you have Patrick Corbin starting opening day, he did have a 6-19 record last season with a 6.31 ERA. That's all you need to know about the state of the franchise. Below them, coming in at number 28, we have the Cincinnati Reds. This Reds team has one of the best farm systems in all of the major leagues, but it's exciting when we're going to see them in August when they're about 25 games below 500. At number 27, we have the Colorado Rockies. Look, I know signing Chris Bryant was a shock, and it might have hyped up the fan base a little bit, but he's not going to help overcome the pitching woes and them playing in Coors Field and them playing in the NL West Division. Number 26, we have the Detroit Tigers. There's not really a whole lot to like about this team, but they got some good young talent that's going to need a little bit of time to develop. Number 25 is the Pittsburgh Pirates. Has anyone figured out why they haven't traded Brian Reynolds yet? Because I have absolutely no idea what their plan is with him. O'Neal Cruz is a stud, but they have pitching woes, and they're just simply not good enough to compete in the major leagues. Number 24, we have the Kansas City Royals. The Royals did some good work in the offseason, getting rid of some of the veterans to pave the way for some good and talented youngsters. They have a decent rotation, but they're still a long way away from reaching that 500 mark. Coming in at number 23 is the Miami Marlins. This is a team that did add some good bats, but until they show they can actually improve on their runs scored per game and OPS, they don't get any higher rankings than this. Number 22 is the San Francisco Giants. Oh, what could have been for this team? They were, a late phone call and a bum ankle away from landing Aaron Judge and Carlos Correa in the offseason. Instead, they watched Carlos Rodon walk to the Yankees, and now they have to go toe-to-toe with the Dodgers and Padres, and I just don't see it for them this season. Number 21, we have the Boston Red Sox. It's always fun seeing the Red Sox struggle, and this year should be no different. They did add some key players to their lineup, but their average age is 36, and that's simply not going to get the job done across Major League Baseball grinding season. Number 20, the Chicago Cubs. They did retool a little bit of a rebuild as well. They smack dab in the middle. They did add Dansby Swanson to the mix and Cody Bellinger, but it's boom or bust for the Cubs in 2023. Number 19, the Arizona Diamondbacks. This team has great pitching and is far more talented, at least on paper, than 2022, but is still in a tough division and it still needs time to prove that they can actually hang with the big boys. Number 18 is the Baltimore Orioles. This team went into the offseason acting like they were, flush against the luxury salary cap, and they didn't spend a goddamn thing when they were, in fact, the lowest, one of the lowest payrolls in all of Major League Baseball. Not sure what's going on there, but I'm excited to watch, some of the youngsters get going this season. At number 17, we have the Texas Rangers. This team was completely opposite of the Baltimore Orioles. They were aggressive in the offseason. They spent a ton. They did sign Jacob deGrom, who will be a great addition to the rotation. They did have Nathan Eovaldi as well to the mix. They do have offensive depth, but it begs to be seen if they can all put it together for a 162-game season. At number 16, we have the Chicago White Sox. They did well to get rid of Tony La Russa, last season. They have very little depth up front in terms of batting lineup and pitching rotation, and any injury for extended periods of time could derail their hopes. If they do get a bit of health luck and stay healthy for the duration of the season, they could surprise and upset the Guardians for the AL Central. With that, we are now halfway through the rankings. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the 5-Tool Podcast. So far, we've ranked 8 NL teams and 7 AL teams, and if you see the guy that says parity is no such thing in the MLB, tell him to give his head a shake. And now, back to the power ranking system. At number 15, the first team in the top half of the lineup, we have the Los Angeles Angels. Look, Shohei Ohtani and Mike Trout, that's all you need to know. The team added Anthony Rendon, and he could play a big factor in getting them to the postseason. If Ohtani and Trout can stay healthy this season, which is a big ask, the Angels could be a very good wild card spot candidate this season. At number 14, we have the Milwaukee Brewers. Corbin Burnes and Brandon Woodruff are definitely one of the best 1-2 combinations in the major leagues, but the batting order leaves a ton of questions. I'm not sure they can compete with the likes of the Cardinals in the NL Central. At number 13, we have the Minnesota Twins. The Twins somehow managed to get Carlos Correa back in their uniform for this season, and if he makes in a solid rotation to support the firepower they have on the batting rotation, they are a definite serious sleeper for the AL Central crown. At number 12, we have the Tampa Bay Rays. The Rays didn't do much in the offseason to make a splash, and they'll be relying on the status quo. They were good enough last season to compete for a wild card spot. They're in the AL East. They might not be good enough this season, but we still like what they're doing overall. At number 11, we have the Philadelphia Phillies. The Phillies were World Series finalists last year. They added Trey Turner to the mix, but the loss of Bryce Harper for the first couple of months is definitely going to hinder their progress this season. Until the rotation proves that it can be deeper than Aaron Nola and Zach Wheeler, we'll leave the Phillies outside of the top 10 to start. Number 10, St. Louis Cardinals. Offensively, this team is as good as it gets in the major leagues. They do have questions surrounding their bullpen and pitching rotation, with Adam Wainwright now out for a few months with a groin injury. The likes of Miles Mikolas and Jack Flaherty, I'm just not sure they'll hold up, but I do like what they're doing over there in St. Louis. Coming in at number 9 is the Cleveland Guardians. This team has the power, it has the pitching, but it's also due for some regression from its crazy numbers last season. This is still the team to beat in the AL Central, but it may be closer than Cleveland fans would hope. At number 8, we have the New York Yankees. Unless Aaron Judge hits 70 home runs this season, the Yankees are going to go fall flat on their face. Their rotation outside of Garrett Cole is questionable at best. Luis Severino, Nestor Cortez, and an injured Carlos Rodon to start the season just don't do it for me. Number 7, we have the Los Angeles Dodgers. The Dodgers lineup is good from top to bottom. Its pitching staff is solid. It's good, ready for a crazy good season. It's boom or bust for the Dodgers, and I expect this team to at least hit the 100 win mark, regardless whether they win the World Series or not. Number 6, we have the Seattle Mariners. The Mariners ended the longest playoff drought last year. They beat the Jays in the wild card spot. They're hungry for more. They have Teoscar Hernandez added to a much potent offense, but the pitching rotation has more questions than answers coming into the season. At number 5, we have the New York Mets. The Mets are simply the Mets, and sooner or later they're going to do something metty to just screw up their entire season. They did lose Edwin Diaz before the season even started to a freak injury, but they do have a potent lineup that could take them deep in the playoffs. At number 4, we have the Toronto Blue Jays. Look, the Blue Jays made some good acquisitions in the offseason that'll help them take the next step. They added Kevin Kiermaier and Brandon Belt for experience, and a youngster in Dalton Varsho who's very exciting and has a lot of pop in his bat. The rotation is solid and has been on fire in this spring training, and I expect them to be a division winner this year and get deep into the playoffs. At number 3, we have the Atlanta Braves. The Braves are a very good team top to bottom. They have great hitting, great depth, and their pitching rotation is one of the best in the major leagues. They are major players to win the World Series, but they're just behind the next team just because I think they play in a tougher division. At number 2, we have the San Diego Padres. The Padres have one of the best hitting lineups across the National League. They've added some pitching depth, and the only thing that's holding them back this year is going to be execution. The Padres are serious contenders. And finally, coming in at the top spot, the number 1 team in the power rankings to start the season is the Houston Astros. Look, it's not every day you let a Cy Young Award winner walk, but still have a top 3 rotation across the major leagues. The Astros are definitely going to miss Jose Altuve's presence for the first few months as he suffered a broken finger in the WBC. But the lineup is stacked behind him, and the Astros are likely going to be about 10 games above 500 and 10 games up in the division before Jose Altuve even takes a plate appearance. The Astros are the team to beat this year once again. That wraps up this third episode of the 5-2 podcast. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this episode and want to help support the podcast, please subscribe, drop a like, and share it on social media with your friends. The next episode of the 5-2 podcast will be available Wednesday, March 29th in the afternoon at some point, and it'll be giving you my best bets for opening day in the major leagues. Until next time,